Hey guys, it's Photoshop Pro Help It, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create this awesome epic looking evil pumpkin. Now this tutorial is more for the advanced users of Photoshop. Now if you are a beginner of Photoshop, then I will suggest going for something more simpler, but you can have a go and see what it comes out like for you. So with the advanced users, this is the style that we're going to go for. We're going to try and recreate this image. And the first things that we do need to do is we need to go and download a few images to implement into this. So that can be achieved by going down to the description bar, go check all that out, everything in there that you need to know, go and download it and put it into Photoshop, ready for us to use. And we're just going to go up to File and New. We need to create a new blank document, so New. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to go and change the width and height. Now, I'm going to keep with mine 1440 to 900. Now, if you want to put this as a background for your computer screen, then I will suggest going for the width and height of your resolution of your computer screen. So, click OK once you have done that. Now we've got a blank white document. We need to go and change this. So we want to make sure that we have black as our foreground color on the left hand side at the bottom, and we're just going to go up to Edit, Fill, and make sure it's got foreground color. Click OK. That changes to black, and we're going to go and add a gradient overlay. So we're going to double click this layer, click OK, and what that does is unlocks the layer for us to use. So we're just going to go and double click again, and that brings up the layer style. So we're going to go down to gradient overlay, and we're going to go and change the style to radial. Going to click the gradient, and we're going to change the black, double click that, and we're going to go and change the black color to a sort of orange / dark brown. So the code for this that I'm going to use is 773D 3D00. So that's 773D00. You can obviously pause the video and have a look. Click OK. And we're going to go and change the white, and we're going to change that to black. Click OK, and we're going to go and change the location of the black to around about 98, and then click OK, and we're going to go click OK again. So that's basically the background sorted so far, but we're going to do a bit more work later on. Now the next thing is we need to go and bring in our pumpkin. So you've obviously downloaded the picture ready for us to use. So let's jump over to it. So we have our picture right here, and we're just going to go and make a selection around it. Now there are loads of selection techniques out there. You just need to find the one that's right for you. Now I've used the pen tool, but there is the quick selection tool, the lasso tool, and plenty of others. So we're just going to use the pen tool for this. If you don't know how to use the pen tool, I will suggest going to have a look at video selections of selection techniques that you do need to learn for this. So we're just going to go around it, and we're just going to go and bend the line. So hold and click and bend the line around it, because we don't want any sharp edges. We need it all neat and tidy because this is a high definition image. So we're just going to hold down Alt or Option if you have a Mac, click the middle, and just keep going around it, just of the shape of the pumpkin, and keep going around until you have everything. And we also need this bit right here. So we're just going to keep going around like that. So there we go. So I'm just going to quickly just muck this up a little bit. We're just going to make the selection. Obviously I haven't gone all the way around it, but I have made my selection earlier to make this tutorial quicker. So we're just going to go and right click now and make selection. Now we need to feather the radius by 2 pixels, so make sure you've got anti-analyzed on, and then click OK. So I'm just going to go and undo that now because I've already made my selection. Like that, and I'm going to go and make my selection. There we go. So you'll have something like this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go up to the quick selection tool, and we're going to just go and right click and go to layer via copy. Now once you've done that, you'll have it on its brand new layer without any of the background. Now before we go any further, it depends on your taste. You can leave the top bit all fraggled and sort of like this where it was originally, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go and round the top off and soften it up a bit. So to do that, we're going to go back to the pen tool, and we're just going to go from here to here, and we're just going to round it off. So obviously bend the line, about there, and we're just going to go and take that off. So make a selection around it, right click, go to make selection, feather it by 2 pixels, and then just hit delete on your keyboard when you're done, like that, and Control and D to deselect, or Command and D if you have a Mac. So we have something like that, and it has been rounded off very nicely. And all we're going to do is drag and drop this into our background. So drag and drop with the move tool on the left hand side, drag it. Now it's a really high definition image this, so it's going to be extremely big, so we're going to resize this. So we're just going to go and resize this now down, and to around about there. Now what we need to do is we need to squish it because it is too long, so we're just going to go and drag in from the side. We don't need to hold down shift or anything because we're not keeping the same res. So around about there, and we can make that a bit bigger. So we just need to fit in just so the orange just comes over the top and the bottom, so nothing too mental, and then click the tick icon at the top. Now once we have done that, we need to go and play around with the colours. So it's a fairly okay colour at the moment, but we need to go and change the top bit to green and the bottom bit to a really bright orange. So to do that, all we're going to do is we're going to go and hold down Control or Command if you have a Mac on your keyboard and select the icon of the pumpkin layer. We're going to go rename this layer, so you can double click the layer. It's called layer 1. You can just rename it to pumpkin, and there we go. And all we're going to do from here, we're going to go and click the quick selection tool. Make sure you've got the minus at the top, and you can keep for around about 6 for the brush size, and we're just going to go down, and it makes a fairly okay deselection of it. So something around about there. Obviously you can go around with the pen tool if you need to. You can click the plus if it does go over, around about there, and keep going with the minus about there, and go for the plus again. So I'm just doing this very quickly. Now this is a quick bit here, but obviously you can use the pen tool as I said. If you really want to make it really neat, definitely use the pen tool for this. So if you're going to use the pen tool, obviously you'd map around the top bit and then inverse it to select the pumpkin, but apart from that, it's made a fairly okay selection so far. So all we're going to do from here is going to add an adjustment layer. So bottom right hand side, you see a little circle that's black and white, click that, and we're going to go to hue and saturation, and we're going to go to colorize, and we want to make sure that the hue is going to be on around about 25 for this, 75 for the saturation, and then 0 for the lightness. We don't need to play around with that. And obviously you can stop the video and have a look and close that. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to go and select the top bit. So I'm going to go and select the top bit now. Now as I said, you can use the pen tool if you need to. I might use the pen tool, so just to quickly show you. because sometimes the quick selection is not obviously always that great for this. So I'm just going to quickly go around, so just around about there, and obviously curve it just so it fits in. And curve it to the way the pumpkin's going. Around about there. And one final one. Around about there. So we have that selection now. We're going to go and right click, make selection, feather it by 2 again. And we're just going to go and click our top layer, which is the hue and saturation. And we're just going to go back down to the adjustment layers, click hue and saturation, colorize it, and we're going to go and change the values to 90 for this, and the next one's going to be 30, and that's around about it. We're just going to go and not play around with the lightness and close that. I'm going to go and zoom out now. So we have the colours that we need. So the next thing we need to do is bring in the darkness, so really bring in those shadows. So I'm going to go and select our pumpkin now. So we need a whole selection. So we have our pumpkin layer, hold down Control or Command on your keyboard and select the pumpkin. And we're just going to go down to the adjustment layers, go to levels, and all we're going to do is change the first bit here where it says 0, and we're going to go and change that to 46, and all we're going to do is close that. So we have our darkness in, and it is looking pretty nice. Now the next thing that we do need to do is we need to map out the eyes and teeth. So we're going to make sure that we have the top layer selected. Then the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to go and make a new blank layer. So bottom right hand side, click the new blank layer icon. We're going to rename this to Sketch. So rename it to Sketch. And make sure that you are working on that layer. And we're going to go map out our face now. There's a few ways we can do this. We can either use the pen tool, which is the more neater version, and you get sleeker lines and smoother. Or you can use the paintbrush tool, which is more jaggedy lines because you are using your hand, you're free drawing. And I would say that the brush tool does work out a lot better because when you are carving up a pumpkin, it's never going to be that neat. So it really depends on what effect that you are going for. So if you're going to use the pen tool, I'll show you what we need to do. So we're going to use the pen tool. We're just going to go and map out our eyes. So obviously curve it. I'm not being too neat about this. So around about there. And obviously you're going to go the whole hog. You're going to map out the other eye, nose and teeth and mouth. And once you have done that and you have got everything, then we're going to go back up to the paintbrush tool. Depending on the size of your image, you're going to play around with the brush size, so it may take a little bit of fiddling, but if you're using the same res as me and the same size pumpkin, then 4 pixels for the brush. Make sure that you have black as your foreground colour. Go back to the pen tool, right click, stroke. Make sure the tool is brush and simulate pressure is OK. And then we can just delete those lines. And that's basically, you have your lines, you have your sketch ready to go. Now that is very neat and tidy, and I don't like the look of that, so I'm just going to go and get rid of that. And we're going to use the paintbrush tool, the next one. And as I said, same for the brush, 4 pixels or a little bit bigger depending on the size of your image. Black is your foreground colour, and then we're just going to go and map out our eyes. So something around about there. And once you've done all the mapping out and you've done the sketch, you've done the mouth, the nose and the eyes, and I've already done my sketch, so I don't really need to do this, so I'm just going to go and delete that layer. So I've come up with something like that. You might want to pause the video and really have a look where you want to put the eyes for this. And you can download this particular set from me. When you go and download the file, I will incorporate the sketch layer for you. Now, depending on the size of your image, you may need to play around with it, free transform it to where you want it on the pumpkin, but I'll leave that bit up to you. So if you are freelancing or drawing and you have something like this and you haven't used my sketch layer, then we can move on to the next step. So the next step is making a new blank layer. Bottom right hand side again, name it fill, so fill layer, and we're going to go back down to the sketch, go to the magic wand tool. That could be hiding underneath the quick selection tool, so click and hold and click inside the eye, and it has made a selection within the lines. So hold down shift on your keyboard and go and do the rest, and we have all the selections. Go back up to the fill layer, go to edit, make sure you've got black as your foreground colour, go to fill, foreground colour, click OK, and we have black filled. So Control and D to deselect, or Command and D if you have a Mac. And from here, all we're going to do is we're going to go down to the pumpkin layer. So click the pumpkin layer, which we named at the beginning. And we're going to go and add a layer mask to this. So bottom right hand side, you see a little camera icon, click that. And we're going to go back up to the fill layer, but hold down Control on your keyboard or Command and click the fill layer icon. And we have it all selected. Go make sure that you are working on the pumpkin layer mask. And we're going to go and fill this with black, so foreground black. We'll go to edit, fill, go to foreground, click OK, and we're going to go and bring that fill layer just underneath the pumpkin layer, so drag and drop. So Control and D or Command and D to deselect, and we're just going to go and double click that fill layer to bring up the layer style. We're going to go and add a gradient overlay, so click gradient overlay, make sure the layer style is radial. We're going to go and change the blending mode to multiply. Going to go and change the colour, so click the gradient, and the colour for the black bit here, we're going to go and change the code, and the code for this is going to be FE4101, so FE4101, a bright orange, click OK, and going to go and change the white. And the white we're going to change to a really dark red. So the code for this one is going to be 5A0A0B. So 5A0A0B. And then we're going to go and click OK. Click OK again. And next thing we're going to do is add a pattern overlay. So click pattern overlay. And we're going to go and find the wax crayon on vellum, which if you can't find, just click the cog icon and you have all the presets here. Just go through them and it'll be in one of them. Click the wax crayon, and we're going to go and change the scale of this to around about 27%, and all we're going to do is click OK. So once we have done that, we're going to go and hide the sketch layer right at the top, hide that, and we have our thing just underneath the pumpkin layer, and it looks like it's the inside, and we can really start with the candle next. So make sure that you have your sketch layer selected. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and jump over to our candle image. Now you will have a download of this, which would be in the file that you previously downloaded. So you should have already put it into Photoshop ready for us to use. So we're going to go and jump over to it. So this is our candle. All we're going to do is make a selection around it. So we're going to use the pen tool for this. So start from the bottom. So we're just going to go fairly close. So we're just going to go and curve. So just keep curving around it like that. So making sure that we get all the candle light in to around about there. Now once we have made a selection around it, we're just going to go right click go to make selection, and we're going to go and feather this by 8 pixels. Make sure you've got anti-analyzed on, click OK. We're going to go and press Shift Control and I to invert it, or Shift Command and I if you have a Mac. Press delete on your keyboard, and there we have it. We have selected our candle, so we're going to press Control and D or Command and D to deselect, and we're just going to go and drag it and drop into our image. We want to position the layer just underneath the pumpkin layer and just above the fill layer. So let's go and position this, and we're going to go and change the blending mode to screen, and we want it to around about there, so you can position it just underneath the eye, just like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a few more sketches to the sketch copy. So all we're going to do is we're going to go up to sketch, click that on, and we have our sketch already done now. And we're going to go and add a few more lines to this. So we're going to go and use the paintbrush tool for this, and I will say use the paintbrush tool because as we're doing the inside lines of the mouth, so you can see all the inside bits that we just cut out, we need it jaggedy to amplify the effect, so definitely go for the brush tool. And then all we're going to do is we're going to zoom in now, and if you follow me, we'll just go around on the first eye like that. All we're doing is adding some inside bits, so nothing too complicated, so just a bit more there. And for the nose, gonna do the tooth, and then just for the mouth, round about there. So all we're doing is following it round. As I said, doesn't matter if you're neat because it just brings that effect. So once you have done that and you have got lines like this, this is exactly what we're after. Now I don't need to do this because I've already made my layers, so just going to go and delete that and bring back. So this is what we're after, something like this, if you can see. And then all we're going to do is we're going to go to the fill layer, and we're going to go and make a new blank layer, so bottom right hand side, and we're going to name this fill 2, so name it fill 2. I'm going to go back up to the sketch, we're going to go to the magic wand tool, hold down shift on your keyboard after clicking once, and then we're just going to go and select all the others like that. Go back down to the fill 2, and we're just going to go make sure we have black as a foreground colour. Go to edit, fill, foreground colour, black, Control and D to deselect, and then all we're going to do is take that off. So take the sketch copy off, so hide it, and we're going to be left with something like this. So I just zoom out, and then all we're going to do is we're going to bring that fill layer 2 just above the candle layer, and there we have it. We have something like this. So this is pretty nice as it is. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a few styles onto this. So if we double click this now, we're going to go and add a gradient overlay. So let's click our gradient overlay. We're going to go and click radial. We're going to go change that to multiply, and for the gradient overlay we're going to just double click the colours, double click the black. For the first colour is going to be 741A02, so type that in, so 741A02, click OK, and the next colour, and that colour is going to be AC3304, so AC3304, click OK, and then click OK again, and then we're going to go and add a pattern overlay. So click the pattern overlay, we're going to go to the drop down menu, and we want this one right here, and it's called washed watercolor paper. So click that one, and then all we're going to do is we're going to go click OK. And the next thing we're going to do is going to paint in some highlights. So we need to make a new blank layer above the sketch copy, above the sketch copy, so new blank layer icon down below, and we're going to go and name this light detail, so name it light detail, so we can keep track of where we're going. And all we're going to do now is we're going to go and change our colour. Go to the paintbrush tool, click on the colour that we need, and we're going to go for something of around about here. So let's type in our colour, so it's going to be FBBE0B, so FBBE0B, so quite bright yellow. Click that. We want brush size of 5 pixels depending on the size of your picture. We want to change the opacity down to 50%, and we want to change the flow down to 50% also. So we have something like that, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to go and paint in some detail just around the eye. So if you follow me, so just lightly, nothing too heavy, something like that. So just paying very close detail to the edge, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to go and smudge that now. So let's add a few more details to the other side, so just around the nose here, and just over here, just on the side. And then we're just going to go and smudge this, so go to the smudge tool on the left hand side. We're going to go and change the strength of this to around about 50%, so change that to 50, and we want a brush size of around about 27 pixels, and then we'll just smudge it. So going very lightly. You can zoom in for this, making your brush smaller. So just working in a circular motion. And just bringing it down. So something like there. Now don't forget, if you do make a mistake, you can easily just go back and delete it. So I'm going to say, just bring that down a little bit. So I'm going to bring the opacity down of this layer to around about 63%. That's my personal taste, so you can really play around. So I'm just going to smudge this now. Right about there. And just smudge the bit on the tooth. And just a bit more around the eye. And obviously I'm going to take my time with this because this is the important bit. So once we have done that, then the next step to do is we're going to go back to our brush. We're going to change it to 5. We're going to keep with that. And we're just going to go and change the colour for this. So the new colour is going to be F2C4A3. So type in F2C4, so C4A3, and we're just going to click OK. And then still on the same layer, we're just going to go over the other eye, so very lightly just over this bit here. So like that. And we're just going to do the same to this bit here. So what it does is it creates a bit of light reflection from here, and then just over the nose bit here, nothing too much, and a little bit on the tooth as well. And you can also smudge this if you want to. Just going to smudge it a little bit, nothing too heavy though. Like that. And we're just going to do a bit on the nose. Now once you have done that, we're just going to zoom out, see how it looks, and it's looking pretty good at the moment. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer, so new blank layer, bottom right hand side, click that, and we're just going to go and change the name of this, and we're going to name it Dark Details. So name that Dark Details. And we're going to go back to the brush tool. So we're going to keep with 5 pixels for the brush. We're going to go and change to a really dark brown. So the code for this one is going to be 0A0001. Obviously you can pause it and then click OK. And then we can just add in just around here and just lightly over the nose, getting really close to the edge like that. And then we're just going to go and smudge it. So go back to the smudge tool. We want a brush size around about 17 pixels for this. And we're just going to go and smudge it. So just down. So just along. There we go. So just paying very close care to this. So we're just going to zoom out. I'm just going to bring the opacity down. As I said, personal taste. Just so it's not so heavy. Like that. You really do have to spend a little bit of time doing this because it can take a little while. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go using the same brush and on the same layer, we're just going to go and paint that on the inside of these bits here. So we're going to have a small brush now, using that dark detail, and we're just going to go and paint in just here, just along the edge, so not covering the whole lot. And we're just going to do exactly the same. You can change your brush down in size, so just along the edge. You do have to be pretty neat about this bit here. So a bit more. Let's keep going. And we're just going to do all the edges for this. So just a little bit more along the mouth and just over the nose. And we're just going to do the other eye. going to bring the opacity up a bit. Not too much. Around about there will do for us. So if I just unclick that, as we can see, it's giving it more depth. I want to probably a bit more on this eye. And we can obviously go back with the eraser tool and just take off a bit up here and a bit over the nose because that's a bit too strong. And there we have it. We have that bit sorted. So then we can really get on with the next steps. So we're going to make sure that we have our dark detail layer selected. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to the fill layer. So make sure you've got the fill layer selected. And then we're just going to go and duplicate this. So Control and J or Command and J on your keyboard. And that duplicates it. We're going to go and rename this now. We're going to rename it to light. And we're going to go and bring this all the way up to the top. We're going to go and get rid of all the styles on this. So we're just going to go and drag the FX button right here, just on the side, all the way down to the bin. So it's deleted. And we're going to go and press on our keyboard Control and just hold it down, or you can press Command if you have a Mac, and then just click the icon. So all the eyes are selected. We're going to go change our colour to a bright orange, and that is called, the code for this is DD4400, so you can put that in. Click OK. We're just going to go up to Edit, Fill, and then click OK, and it's filled it with bright orange. Now the next thing that we need to do is we're going to go make this into a smart object, so right click, press Convert to Smart Object. We're going to go up to Filter, we're going to go to Blur, and we're going to go to Radial Blur. So we want to put the amount to 100, the blur method to zoom, and the quality to best, and then click OK. It may take a little bit of time to do. We're just going to go up to Filter again and click Radial Blur again, and then click OK. And we're going to go and change the blending mode to Linear Dodge Add, so click that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go and duplicate this now. So Control and J or Command and J if you have a Mac. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and render the filters. And we can render the filters by just adding a new blank layer, so bottom right hand side. And we're just going to go and grab those two. So make sure they're both selected, the light copy and the new blank layer. And right click in and press Merge Layers. So now that we've rendered the filters, we're going to go and put a Gaussian blur onto this. So Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And we want around about 25 to 26, so let's have a look at it. So let's bring it up one. So let's go for 26, see what that looks like. So we're going to go for around about 26 would be okay for this. So once you've got 26 done, and we've done that, we're going to go and change the blending option of this to Linear Dodge Add as well. So once we've done that, we're going to duplicate this one more time. So Control and J on our keyboard. And as we can see, we have the tooth right here. Now that should block out light, but it ain't at the moment. So we need to go to our lasso tool. And you can either do this a few ways. You can either go to the lasso tool, or you can go to the pen tool. It's really up to you how you want to do it. So I might go for the pen tool for this. So we're just going to go and zoom in, and we're just going to go and like that, and we want around about here, so you can follow me like here, like that. I'm going to right click, press Make Selection. I'm going to change that to a feather radius of 2, click OK, and all we're going to do is press delete on our keyboard, and Control and D or Command and D to deselect. And as we can see, we have something like that. That's exactly what we need, because the tooth is blocking out the light and we don't need to show that. So now that we have that, we're going to go and make a new layer above the, down the bottom now, the background. So go all the way down to layer 0, or we can rename it to background. So let's rename the bottom layer to backing, just so we know where we are. So click the bottom background, make sure that's selected, add a new blank layer to the bottom right hand side, and then from here all we're going to do is make sure that we have our default colours on. You can do that by going down to the bottom left hand side, clicking the little black and white icon now, and we're going to go up to filter, going to go to render and clouds. Now that we have something like that, what we're going to do is we're going to go and play around with this. So we want to apply that filter a few times, and we can do that by pressing Control and F or Command and F on your Mac, just a few times, so we've got a few different things. And once we have that, we're just going to go to filter again, and we're going to go back to render, going to go to different clouds, and we can play around with this again. So Control and F just a few times, and there we have it. We have that, and we're going to go and change the blending option to color dodge for this one, sorry. So color dodge, and as you can see it's blending really nicely with the background. So we're going to go and grab these two now, so hold down Control or Command on your keyboard and make sure they're both selected, the backing and the other layer above it, and we're just going to press Control and G or Command and G on your keyboard, and that groups them. And all we're going to do is right click it, and we're going to go to Convert to Smart Object. We're just going to go and duplicate that now, and we're going to go and rasterize it. So go and right click and press rasterize layer, and what that really does is it gives us a chance. So if we do need to go back and we need to edit it, it's already as a smart object and we can do that. So everything is editable, and we can easily just go back and edit anything that we really need to. So I'm just going to go and zoom in from here, and I'm going to go and change the candle bit. So we're going to go up to our candle layer, and we're just going to go and change this. So I'm just going to bring it up to here, and I'm going to go and duplicate this with Control and J again, and I'm just going to bring it down just so it's a small layer there. So I'm just going to go and reposition these to around about there and here, so we can make those smaller just like that, and do the same to the other one. So let's change that candle just there. So as you can see what I did, all I did was duplicate the candle, make it a bit smaller and put them side by side. So now that we have done that, we're going to go back up to the top, and we're going to go and select the top layer. So make sure you have that selected. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to the bottom, second from bottom. We're going to do a bit more to the background. So we're going to go and grab the lasso tool on the left hand side, and we're going to be pretty generous with this. We're going to go all the way around, so nothing too much like that. And then we're just going to go and right click, and we're going to go layer via copy, and we're going to go to our move tool and just drag it out. We're going to go and change the blend mode to screen, to something like that, and we can just change the size and just move it around really. So let's just move it around, and we're going to go and press the tick icon at the top, Control and U or Command and U. We're going to change the colour, so press colorize, and all we're going to play around with is saturation, so bring it up. So we want around about 92. Click OK, and we're just going to go and duplicate this now, so Control and J or Command and J, and we're just going to go and move this down around about there. Press Control and U again, colorize, and we're just going to go and change the color, so we want something around about there, so like that. So that's around about 102 for the hue, saturation 94, and lightness -8. So play around with it, get that's just what you want, click OK. And then from here all we're going to do is we're going to go and group those now. So we're just going to select both of them by holding down Control or Command if you have a Mac. Control and G or Command and G to group them, and we're just going to go down the bottom. We're going to go and select the first layer now, which is the background layer, which we've got hidden. So we're going to unhide that, and we're going to go up to layer. We're going to go down to layer mask, reveal all, and that adds a layer mask to our layer. And then all we're going to do is go up to the elliptical marquee tool. Might be hidden underneath the rectangle marquee tool, so click and hold that. And we're just going to add a bit more, so we're just going to drag out, so something to around about there, so it's more on the left than the right, so we don't want to edit too much on the right. And we're just going to hold down Shift on our keyboard, and we're just going to add a little one down here, it's around about there. And we're just going to go and fill this with black, but before we do that we're going to feather it, so we're going to go up to Select, Modify, Feather. I'm going to feather it around about 50%, and then we're just going to go to Edit, make sure you've got black as your foreground colour, and go to Fill, foreground colour, and then OK, and that's filled it with black. So Control and D or Command and D to deselect, and then we have that. That looks pretty nice as it is. So the next thing to do is we're going to go and make a new blank layer, and we're going to make a new blank layer above the clouds group that we made, so new blank layer icon. We're going to go up to the rectangle marquee tool, and that's going to be hiding underneath the elliptical marquee tool, so click that. Black is your foreground colour, and we're just going to go and drag out the bottom here, and we're going to go fill this with black like that, and we're going to go and bring the opacity down to around about 75%, and then Control and D or Command and D to deselect. And then we have its platform already that it's sitting on, so we can really go and play around with the shadows now. So that's the next step. So we're going to make sure that we have that rectangle layer still selected. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go and make a new blank layer now. So bottom right hand side, click the new blank layer icon, and we're going to go and rename this to ground shadow. So rename it to ground shadow. And from here what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the elliptical marquee tool now. So it might be hiding underneath the rectangle marquee tool. So just click and hold, go to elliptical marquee tool, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go and drag out just from here, so not creating too much and not going over the pumpkin too much, so just around about there. And we're going to go and feather this now, so we need to feather it by 50, so go to Select, Modify, Feather, and type in 50 and click OK. Now once we have done that, we need to go and fill it with black, so make sure that you have black as your foreground colour, and go up to Edit, go to Fill, Foreground Colour as Use Contents, and click OK. Now once we have done that, we're going to go and press Control and D to deselect, or Command and D if you have a Mac, and obviously it's covering too much, so we need to go and delete some bits now. So we're going to go to the lasso tool, which is just underneath the elliptical tool, so click that, and we're going to go and make a shape just following around the pumpkin a bit. Now this is a hard bit because you have to do a bit of freelance work on this, so I'm going to go and give you a guide, and you can pause the video and come back and see what it should look like. So I'm going to go and make my selection now. So this is my selection that I have made using the lasso tool, and this is exactly what you want. So you can pause the video, as I said, check back and see if you can get a similar one. Now it doesn't matter if you are not totally the same, because it's never going to end up exactly the same as how we want it. So once we have got something like that, we're going to go and feather this to around about 20 pixels. So we're going to go up to select, modify, feather, and type in 20 and then click OK. Once we've done that, press delete on our keyboard and Control and D or Command and D if you have a Mac to deselect. And I'm just going to go and take it off and put it back on just to show you what we've done. So we've added some shadow at the bottom, so it looks like the pumpkin's sitting on something. Now we're going to go and change the opacity to around about 75% for this, so change the opacity to 75%. And once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to go and add some shadow into the eyes. So we need to make a new blank layer just underneath the ground shadow. So new blank layer icon, click that, and drag and drop just underneath the ground shadow. We're going to go and rename this to inner shadow now, so name that inner shadow. And we're going to go and click the paintbrush tool. We want a brush size of around about 65 pixels, opacity 50%, flow 50%, and we're going to go and change the colour to a really dark brown. So the colour code for this is 320C01, and then click OK. And once we have something like this, we're just going to go and paint just over the eyes. Just follow me, so nothing too much, like that. Don't worry if it is going over, because we can edit it in a minute. So once we have something like that, just over the nose, and what we're going to go and do now is we're going to go and delete some of this on the outside, and to do that we're going to go down to the fill layer. So go and find your fill layer that we did earlier, hold down Control on your keyboard or Command and click the icon, and it makes a selection. Now once we have done that, we're going to make sure that we are still working on the inner shadow, and we're going to go up to select, press inverse, and then press delete on our keyboard and Control and D to deselect. Once we've done that, we're going to go down to the bottom, go to fill 2 and hold down Control or Command on our keyboard and click the icon there, and we're going to go feather this by 2. So go to select, modify, feather, and type in 2 and then click OK. Once you've done that, make sure you're still working on the inner shadow and then click delete on our keyboard, deselect all that colour, and then press Control and D to deselect, and we have something like that. Now that we have the inner shadow, now you're going to play around with this a lot more, and I will say just go very lightly with the shadow, nothing too strong, because we don't want to overpower it. Now if you do overpower it, obviously you can go back and do it again. I'm just going to go and drop the opacity of this layer because I have done it a bit too much. So something around about there, 65% if you have done it like that. So once we have done that, we're going to go and play around with the candle now. So we're going to have an outside candle. So we're going to go find our candles. So we're going to go one that we didn't edit, should be called layer 1 or something, and duplicate. So Control and J on your keyboard or Command and J if you have a Mac. Bring it all the way up to the top so it's above everything else, and we're going to go and change the name of this, and it's going to be called Candle Front, so rename it Candle Front. And we're just going to go and move it just outside, just over here like that, and all we're going to do from here is we're going to go and make a little selection, because it is fading out at the bottom and we don't actually need that. So zoom in, go to your rectangle marquee tool, might be hiding underneath the elliptical tool, so click and hold, make a selection just at the top, just something around about there, and then press Control and T or Command and T to free transform on your keyboard, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to go and drag from the bottom downwards to around about there, just so the fading has stopped, and then click the tick icon at the top. Press Ctrl and D or Command and D to deselect, and from here what we're going to do is we're going to go and add a few bits to this. So we're going to add a few drip marks and go and change some of the lighting. So we need to go and press our clone stamp tool, so on the left hand side. We want it to be around about the size of 35 pixels, and the opacity 100% and the flow 100%, and we're just going to go and change just outside. You have a glow just on the side of this, and we don't want that, so we need to make it darker. So we're just going to go and clone out that light just on the side like that. And once you have done that, we're just going to go and zoom in now, and we're going to go and make some streaks inside the candle. So we're going to add a few bits and bobs. So we're going to go and change our brush size to around about 9 pixels for this, and then we're just going to go and add a few drip marks now. So we're going to go and go to the top. So Alt on your keyboard or Option, hold it down, find an area. We're going to do the top bit first, so click the top bit so it's light, and then we're just going to go and drag downwards so just keep going. Obviously we're going to smudge this later, so it doesn't matter if you're being too much with this, it's fine. Just keep going like that. You have a lot more time to play around with it than I am. I'm just doing this very quickly just to show you. Obviously I'm doing this very rough. And we're going to go and make a few drip marks now. So hold down Alt or Option on your keyboard, find the dark patch, and we're just going to go outside and just bring it inwards like that. And do the same over here. Like that. And don't forget we are going to smudge it, so don't worry. And we're going to go and make like a puddle down the bottom now. So hold down Alt or Option on your keyboard, select just down the bottom, and we're just going to go and make a puddle like this. So you don't really need to be too neat about this bit. Like that. Let me just redo that. There we go. And we're going to go and create a drip mark just here, and now we're going to go and smudge this. So go to your smudge tool, that's on the left hand side, and we're going to go and change the brush size to around about 12 pixels for this, should do. And all you want to do is you want to just smudge it just upwards, just so it looks like a drip, so nothing too much. And we're just going to go and smudge these down so it looks like it's dripping like that, and do the same to the other like that, and do that to the bottom like that. So we've got just something So it's not too hard, you just got to go very gently with it. Like that. And we're going to go and add a few light details on the drip mark. So we're going to go back to the clone stamp tool now. We're not going to change any of the settings. We're just going to go and find a light bit on the candle. We're going to go and change just the brush size just down a tad, and we're just going to go and add a few bits like this just around, and we're going to do exactly the same to there, and we're going to do the same just to here. So if I zoom out now, and that looks pretty good as it is. You can add a lot more drips if you want, and you're going to have a lot more time on your hands. So I've only just done this really quickly and it looks really nice. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to add a few reflections. So we want to make sure that we have our candle front layer selected, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go and duplicate this now. So Control and J on your keyboard, or Command and J if you have a Mac. So press that, and then we're going to go up to Edit, we're going to go down to Transform, go to Flip Vertical, and we're just going to go and move this just underneath, just like that, or there will do for us. And we're going to go and add a layer mask to this. So bottom right hand side, you see a little camera icon, click that, and we're going to go to the gradient overlay tool, which is on the left hand side, and we want to make sure it's set right at the top, black to white. So once you have something like that, we're going to go and zoom out, and all we're going to do, making sure that we are working on the masking layer, we're just going to go up to the top like that, and as you can see it's just faded out. Now we're going to go and add a new blank layer, so bottom right hand side, click the new blank layer icon, and we're going to go down over to the elliptical marquee tool now, and we're going to have just go over just at the bottom, just like that, so nothing too much, and we're going to go and feather this by 20, so go to Select, Modify, Feather. I'm going to feather it by 10 for this, depending on your image size. So try 10 first, click OK, and we're going to go and fill it with black, so make sure you've got black as your foreground colour. Go to Edit, Fill, Foreground Colour, Black, Control and D or Command and D to deselect. Click the Move tool and just move it to wherever you need to, so just underneath where it's joining, and let's have a look, see what it looks like. And that looks pretty good as it is. Obviously you can fiddle around with it and play around with the shadows. So we can also create another candle just for the backing bit, just over the back of where the pumpkin is. So we're going to go and duplicate our candle front layer now. So click the candle front layer and Control and J or Command and J on your keyboard, and we're just going to go and move this layer just underneath the pumpkin layer, so just over here. So we just want it just there, just about there, so around about there will do for us. So we just want it underneath Fill 2, or you can have it underneath Fill as the normal. It really depends wherever you want to put it, but you can have it anywhere underneath the pumpkin layer. And we're just going to do exactly the same as what we did to the other one. So we're going to just go and duplicate it now, so Control and J, go up to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical, bring it down like that, and put a layer mask on it, bottom right hand side, go to the gradient tool, black to white, and bring it all the way up like that. So just play around with it until you get it right. So something like that will do for us. As I said, it does take a little while to get right, so you just want to keep playing around with it. So something around about there, and we're just going to go and duplicate that top layer now, the one with the black disc. So Control and J, and just bring that to wherever that candle is, so just above it, and move it over. So let's move it over to there, and we're just going to go and have a look, see what that looks like. And we have something that's pretty good as it is. Obviously you're going to fiddle around with it a bit more. So we need to go and make the pumpkin a bit reflective now. So what we're going to go and do is we're going to go up to where it says fill, and we're going to go and duplicate all the way up to where it says to round about inner shadow. So hold down shift on your keyboard and then click inner shadow, and we have all of the pumpkin layers selected. So what we're going to do is we're going to press Control and G or Command and G to group them, and we're going to go and press Control and J or Command and J to duplicate. So it can take a little while because there is quite a lot of bits inside the folder. So that was Control or Command and G to group them, and we're Control and J to duplicate it. And then from here we're just going to go and right click that and press merge. So we're going to go press merge group, and we're just going to do it exactly the same as what we did to the candles. So go to edit, transform, flip vertical, bring it down to about there, and add a layer mask, bottom right hand side, gradient tool, black to white, and we're just going to have it about there, and we're just going to go and bring it down just underneath that, and we can really move this to anywhere we want, so about there for us, and play around with the gradient obviously. So I'm just going to go again like that, and there we have it. That's basically our pumpkin picture all finished. Now you can really expand on this and play around with it and try out all different styles and techniques. So don't stop there. Please comment, rate and subscribe. Make sure you download all the bits and bobs to play around with this. Have a great Halloween, guys, and go check out the website, go check out the Facebook and the Google+. That's all brand new, set up, all for you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.